Welcome back, squad. Today we're talking about player analysis. We're taking two players, we're putting them side by side, and we're evaluating. Let's go. Welcome back, squad. Like I said, we're doing player analysis. This is a new series. Basically, we're going to take one player from different teams and evaluate them side by side, usually the same position. This week, we're talking about quarterbacks. We're talking about Joe Burrow and CJ Stroud. So I'm going to throw some stats at you, throw some information, give you my opinion, kind of tell you what I think, and then kind of go from there, and we'll see how it lands. The first stat we're going to land on is average fantasy points per game, and CJ Stroud finished at QB 10 in this. Stroud finished with 18.7 fantasy points per game. Joe Burrow did not. Burrow finished as QB 26 in average points per game with 15.3. Now, granted, Stroud has a bigger sample size. Burrow missed 7 games, but it's still a little bit alarming that he's a full 3.5 points below Stroud. And I mean, some of the people above him make me a little bit concerned. For example, Sam Howell was above him. Jake Browning, his backup, was above him. He played less games, obviously, but still finished above him in average fantasy points per game. Trevor Lawrence was above him. Tua was above him. Baker Mayfield was above him. These are all guys who are going to be drafted below Joe Burrow. Now, I'm not saying go draft Trevor Lawrence. That's not the vibes. But let's keep going. Now, this is a bit of an interesting stat. I want to look at rushing attempts. CJ Stroud had 39 rushing attempts in the season. Joe Burrow had 31. But Stroud also ran for 3 more touchdowns than Burrow, who ran for 0. I think it's fair to say that Joe Burrow is not as mobile as CJ Stroud. I think that's a fair assessment. While Joe Burrow missed 7 games, CJ Stroud missed 2 games. I think it was with a concussion, if I'm correct on that. If you look at ceiling, CJ Stroud's highest game was 41.8 points, and that was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Burrow's highest game was against San Francisco. He had 27.6 fantasy points. Now I want to look at lineups a little bit. The Texans are absolutely loaded next season. They just got Stephon Diggs. They currently have Nico Collins. They'll have Tank Dell coming back from injury. They signed Joe Mixon. Will that take away some of the goal line carries? Maybe for Stroud. Possibly. I still love this offense. I think they're going to score a bunch. I think Stroud's going to continue to throw a bunch. And maybe Mixon will score some, but he also might catch some more. The Bengals, as of me filming, have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I imagine they'll lose Tyler Boyd, but I'm not sure. If they do lose Higgins, I'm a little bit more worried. Chase is obviously amazing, and he's still going to get his points, but I'm still skeptical that Joe Burrow is going to be a consistent fantasy play because he's going to need 2 or 3 touchdowns a game through the air because he's not getting them on the ground, right? He's just not. Stroud finished 8th in passing yards overall, and again, he missed 2 games. Joe Burrow finished 25th in pass yards, and he missed 7 games, so the part of that makes sense. But the person above him was Kirk Cousins, who only played 8 games. I'm a little worried about that. And Kirk was, going off also. That's another time. Now, Stroud wasn't amazing in average pass attempts a game. He finished with 33.8 per game. Burrow finished with 36.5 attempts per game. So it's about 3-ish more per game for Burrow. Something I find really interesting is Joe Burrow had 6 interceptions throughout the whole season. Stroud had 5. Burrow played 5 less games than Stroud did. I think the reality is that I would take Stroud over Burrow. Could Stroud crack the top 5? Maybe. I'll have him in that 5, 6, 7 range, I think, probably. Maybe 8 when I make my rankings for it. Burrow, I think Burrow could reach 7 or 8. I'm not against that. But I think more realistically, I'd put him in the 9, 10 range. Joe Burrow's TD rate in his last 10 games is 4.1%. Now, I'm not here to hate on Burrow. I'm fine with Burrow, actually, as kind of a late round option. But I don't think he's going to fall to you that late. ESPN currently has him as number 5 in quarterbacks, and I don't love that at all. I don't love that because I would take Anthony Richardson over him. I would take CJ Stroud over him. I would take Jordan Love over him. And all 3 of those guys are ranked below him. ESPN has Stroud ranked as 8th. And again, I don't hate that. I'd move him up a couple spots, and I'd move Burrow down a couple spots. If we flip them, I actually don't hate that either. But I think we're too high on Burrow, and I think we're a little too low on Stroud. So anyways, just want to inform you a little bit. It's your decision. It's up to you what you want to do, what you think is best. I'm not going to tell you what to do. If it's up to me, I'm drafting CJ Stroud over Joe Burrow, or I'm avoiding Burrow at his price, basically. Anyway, thanks for watching, y'all. If you have other questions like this, please let me know. I can do more analysis on running backs, wide receivers. We're going to do a couple more in the future before the season hits. Obviously, this could change depending on who gets signed and released and who breaks their thumbs. Who knows? Check out our other vids. Check us out on Twitter, all that good stuff. You know where to find us. Peace out. Much love. Bye.